Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV, and the Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news show.
If you have a news topic or tips you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show is live on Tuesday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired on Friday at noon, 3 and 6.
Coming up, Forest Service cabin operators, Durango vacation rentals, and more.
And also area weather, Sheriff's Roundup, and High Canyon Country happenings. Today is September 26, 2017, and now the news at noon. The Durango Herald reported in our area where a great deal of economic opportunity is derived from tourism, it's important to monitor what happens in Durango as a bellwether for Southwest Colorado. Now vacation rentals could be blocked from opening in certain residential areas and in areas slated for redevelopment to help protect housing in Durango. The potential change to vacation rental regulations was one of several updates to the Land Use Code the Durango Planning Commission unanimously approved on Monday. The Commission also approved new rules for handcraft shops, less stringent parking regulations for vacation rentals, and rules that would grant the board more power to review variances from the Land Use Code, among others. The revisions to the code must go before the Durango City Council for final approval. The proposed vacation rental restrictions would prevent businesses from opening in areas where the city wants to encourage new housing, such as North Main Avenue and along Camino del Rio. It also prevents vacation rentals in residential neighborhoods that do not already have vacation rental caps in place. According to Vicki Vandergrift, a city planner, we want to provide housing for people that live here, she said. Vacation rentals have grown in popularity because sites like VRBO and HomeAway allow property owners to rent out homes and apartments for short-term stays. As a result, the rentals have cut into homes available for residents. At least that's the perceived result. Planning manager Scott Shine said in an interview the city staff tended to selected areas where housing is dense for the proposed restriction because vacation rentals have higher impacts in those areas. Those operating existing vacation rentals would not be affected by the rule change. Planning Commissioner Jeff Hickok said the justification for scaling back where vacation rentals are allowed makes sense, but he would like the city to come up with a different policy for people renting out a single room in their home to earn additional income. Vandergrift said single room rental is allowed in one area of town, and expanding where it's allowed would likely be discussed next year. While the city may restrict vacation rental locations, it may loosen its parking requirements for the businesses. It could start counting tandem parking spaces, those that would block in another car, toward the total number of parking spaces needed for a vacation rental permit, Vandergrift said. The code revisions would also create new standards for handicraft shops, defined as retail shops run by small-scale artisans such as potters and carpenters. If approved, the standards would allow the artisans to open a combined retail and workshop space in any commercial area. The new rule would also reduce the parking allowances for a shop compared to a regular retail outlet. To help streamline the planning process for developers, as part of the code revisions, the city also may allow the Planning Commission to act as the Land Use Code and Development Board of Adjustments and handle variances requests, such as height variances and larger project approvals. This could eliminate a meeting with the Board of Adjustment for applicants and streamline the process.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, a 23-year-old man who was ejected from a man lift at a construction site in Bayfield last week died Saturday. Roy Vreeland, deputy chief with the Upper Pine River Fire Protection District, said Monday that the man was working with a construction crew contracted by the city of Bayfield to rebuild the Bayfield Parkway over Los Pinos River. The construction projects are ongoing to replace bridges that date to the 1930s and have been deemed functionally obsolete. The area is Twin Bridges, a site near downtown Bayfield, about 20 miles east of Durango. The man's family identified him as Brian John Anthony Shaw of Trinidad. According to Fire Chief Bruce Evans, Shaw, an employee of Centennial-based SEMA Construction Incorporated, was trying to fix a man lift that had a wheel that went off the side of a dirt road. Reports of the incident indicate Shaw had locked himself into the basket before the man lift went off the road. However, in the process of fixing the lift, Shaw forgot to lock himself into the basket that is at the top of the lift, and he was ejected when the lift went further off the road. He fell about 40 feet and landed on a survey stick that punctured his abdomen, Evans said. Shaw was the only person operating the lift.
From the Cortez Journal, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has concluded that Wyoming-based Cameco Power Resources has fixed its shipping problems that led to radioactive spills south of Blanding, Utah, and can resume shipments of barium sulfate to waste storage facilities. However, the White Mesa Mill, which formally accepted the waste, then reported to regulators they were leaking en route, said Monday it is not accepting barium sulfate shipments from Cameco at this time, according to a company spokesman. Twice in 8 months, on August 19, 2015 and March 28 and 29 of 2016, a Cameco container truck shipping barium sulfate from the Smith Ranch, Wyoming uranium mine to the White Mesa Mill waste storage facility leaked toxic contents en route. The March incident was the most severe, spilling a trail of the milky radioactive waste onto U.S. Highway 191 south of Blanding. In August of 2016, Cameco was ordered by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to suspend shipments pending an investigation and approved corrective action plan. The investigation concluded Cameco failed to effectively package the waste and did not accurately describe the contents and quantity of loads in shipping papers. In its corrective action plan, Cameco said it will begin using new containers designed for sludge and pond sediments and will place the waste in industrial bags before it goes into containers. Cameco also said it would add dunnage to fill voids in the load to keep it from shifting and would add improved absorbent polymer to keep free water from sloshing around. At the time of the accidents, the company was misclassifying radioactive waste at a lower level than the actual shipment, the NRC found. Cameco said it has adjusted its testing methodology in order to classify radioactive waste accurately and would sample and test each waste shipment before transport rather than take limited samples. Officials also said the company has improved hazardous materials training. After several reviews and inspections of corrective action plans, the company was given the green light to resume shipments last month. Cameco's recent changes to its transportation program associated with the package selection process, waste classification, and its pre-transportation packaging process have been reviewed and determined to be adequate, Scott Morris, Deputy Regional Administrator for the Nuclear Regulatory Agency, stated in an August 25th letter to the company. The letter further stated that the NRC has determined that Cameco's corrective action plan and changes made to prevent recurrence were adequate to ensure the safe transport of barium sulfate sludge and pond sediment to disposal facilities. The spills alarmed nearby residents of the Ute Mountain Ute tribe, who often walk the highway where the spill occurred north of their reservation. Cameco spokesman Gord Struthers said Friday that there was definitely a problem with its shipping practices, but they have taken extensive steps to correct them. The company plans to resume shipments of barium sulfate to waste facilities in October and hopes that includes the White Mesa Mill. Gord said that its improved shipping procedures will prevent leaks and spills.
According to the Durango Herald, the Trump administration on Friday scrapped Obama era guidance on investigating campus sexual assault, replacing it with new instructions that allow universities to require higher standards of evidence when handling complaints. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos has said that President Barack Obama's policy had been unfairly skewed against those accused of assault and had weaponized the Education Department to work against schools and against students. The change is the latest in Trump's broader effort to roll back Obama policies. Women's rights groups slammed Friday's decision, saying it will discourage students from reporting assault. The guidance, released in 2011 and then updated in 2014, instructed universities to use a preponderance of the evidence standard when assessing and investigating a claim of sexual assault. DeVos' new interim guidelines let colleges choose between that standard and a clear and convincing evidence standard, which is harder to meet. Those rules will be in place temporarily while the Education Department gathers comments from interest groups and the public and writes new guidance. Fatima Ghosh-Graves, president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center, said the new rule will have a devastating impact on students and schools. The Education Department's Office for Civil Rights is investigating 360 sexual violence cases at 258 post-secondary institutions. A student may choose whether to report a claim of assault to police or to have it investigated by a university under a federal provision against sexual discrimination. Some students choose not to turn to law enforcement because many such cases go unprosecuted as police and courts require higher standards of evidence. Students may also feel more comfortable dealing with university investigators rather than with police following a trauma. Andrew Miltenberg, a New York lawyer who represents students accused of sexual assault, said Obama's standard ignored the presumption of evidence and put the burden on the accused to prove the assault did not happen. He said the system proposed by DeVoe is a much more stringent standard and one that is less open to subjective interpretation.
From the Cortez Journal, Tom Rice, recreation planner for the Dolores District, said the San Juan National Forest is seeking applications to operate the historic Aspen and Glade guard stations. A successful applicant will gain a commercial permit for renting the cabins to the public. They are really neat buildings that are not getting used, he said. Having an operator will allow the public to stay in the forest in historic cabins and provide a local business opportunity. Rental management will also help keep the buildings maintained. The Aspen Guard Station is 10 miles northeast of Mancos on Forest Road 561. It is a rustic cabin with a water well, propane, and solar system. It has a kitchen and 3 bedrooms. The Glade Guard Station is 30 miles north of Cortez on Forest Road 512. It is similar to the Aspen Station but has had renovations in the past 5 years that include corrals. Access for both properties is via gravel forest roads. Winter snowfall typically closes access from November to May. Snow machines and off-highway vehicles may be used when roads are closed because of snow. The permit term will be for 2 years and with an option to extend the term non-competitively for an additional 5 years. The cabins have a long history with the Forest Service. The Glade Guard Station was established in 1905 when a small log cabin was constructed as an administrative facility for the Glade District of the Montezuma National Forest, which now is part of the Dolores District of the San Juan National Forest. In 1916, a wood frame residence was built and a barn was added. The Lone Dome Civilian Conservation Corps camp was set up adjacent to the Glade Guard Station in the 1930s. During this time, a garage meat house, later used as a tool shed, and an outhouse were constructed. The station continued to serve various functions through the 1970s and is one of the oldest Forest Service administrative sites in Colorado. The site was listed on the Colorado State Register of Historic Properties in 2001 and is considered to be eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. The log-constructed Aspen Guard Station was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps in 1938 for Forest Service Administration under Superintendent G. Wayne Bauer. It is in Aspen Grove near the historic Jersey Gym Lookout Tower. The Aspen Station was built as part of the federal government's effort to generate jobs after the Great Depression and was part of a campaign of natural resource enhancement undertaken by the Forest Service during the New Deal era. Rangers lived in the Aspen Station when they worked in the field. By the 1950s, it was being used for seasonal work crews. Beginning in 1994, the dwelling was used for an artist-in-residence program, but that program ended in 2012. Rice said the cabins need some upkeep and that some of the revenues generated by the rentals would be earmarked for building maintenance. As part of the application, bidders must show a business plan and experience with providing lodging to the public. Other details should include visitation numbers, season of use, potential revenue, logistics, and cost of infrastructure and operations. Providing public benefit and generating revenue are critical parts of this opportunity. Parties are encouraged to research and visit the stations by contacting the Dolores Ranger District before October 15th. Application packages must be received by 4:30 p.m. on Friday, October 27th. For more info, contact Tom Rice at 970-882-6843 or his email is thomasbrice@fs.fed.us. For more information, including an electronic copy of the prospectus, go online to fs.usda.gov.
Reported by the Durango Herald. Some residents in Durango West 2 subdivision are on day 3 of having no water as the result of a water main break that occurred Sunday. Calls to the Durango West Metro District Number 2, the entity that manages water, sewer, roads, and recreational systems in the neighborhood about 8 miles west of Durango, off U.S. Highway 160, were not immediately returned Tuesday morning. According to the district's website, a water main break was found Sunday between 84 and 112 Oak Drive, which required water to be cut off. Durango West 2 has more than 300 homes, but it's not clear how many homes are affected. It is also not clear what time Sunday the water outage occurred. On Monday, crews arrived to repair the crack in the water pipe and in doing so discovered a much larger crack on the bottom of the pipe that extended into the street, requiring asphalt to be excavated. As a result, the district said at 6:15 p.m. Monday that water would not be restored that night and that crews would return the next day to continue repairs. A voice message on the district's phone says water is expected to be restored by tonight. And now here's our weather report.
There are some slight adjustments in the arrival time for the scattered showers. Will reach the San Juans and the Continental Divide this afternoon, 6 to 9 hours ahead of yesterday's estimates. Some light snow above 11,500 feet is expected this afternoon. Wednesday through Thursday morning will see the strongest activity, and about noon tomorrow you'll feel it. 3 to 6 inches of snow is expected above 11,000 foot through the Wednesday to Thursday morning time frame. Our southern west slope is favored for showers and thunderstorms, and tomorrow and Thursday will see the widest area of storm coverage for the western slope. Along with an early arrival comes an early departure. Friday is expected to be mostly sunny and begin a warmer, drier period that should go through Monday. The west central states will see below average temperatures persist throughout midweek, then a moderating trend commencing later in the week. The eastern states will continue to have warmer temperatures for a couple of more days. A strong, slow-moving cold front with multiple waves of low pressure developing along it will cover an area from the upper Great Lakes to Texas, moving to the east coast by Thursday, delivering a fall-feeling weather all along the way. Heavy rainfall is expected across central and western Texas. Deep moisture streaming northward from former tropical storm Pilar in the eastern Pacific will contribute to heavier rainfall amounts, possibly in excess of 4 inches between now and Wednesday night. Flash flooding is possible across this region. Hurricane Maria is forecast to track near parts of the East Coast through today and tonight and into Wednesday, about 100 to 200 miles east of North Carolina's Outer Banks before heading out to sea on Thursday. A front approaching from the west will cause an eastward turn for the hurricane later in the week. The high temperature for today should be at 63, with the coolest day tomorrow at 57, followed by a steady rise to 69 by Saturday. Lows will be in the mid-40s for the week. Winds are still expected to run 5 to 10 miles per hour through at least Thursday. Scattered showers beginning this afternoon and getting into full swing midday tomorrow and departing Thursday night. Friday and on through Monday should be mostly sunny and drying things out slowly with highs in the upper 60s. And now back to the news.
Reported by the Durango Herald, the first runs of the 2017-18 ski season were made Sunday at Silverton Mountain, North America's highest altitude ski areas, with a peak of 13,487 feet. According to a news release, a snow system that passed through the San Juan Mountains over the weekend dropped just enough snow to open the upper reaches of Silverton Mountain. The patrollers could not resist the opportunity to ride the chairlift today to make some turns on the upper mountain as they celebrated the start of the season at Silverton Mountain, the news release said. Silverton Mountain co-owner Jen Brill said most of the snow was concentrated to the alpine areas of the mountain. Andrew Lyons, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Grand Junction, said elevations above 10,000 feet have received anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow over the past few days. Lyons said another stormy pattern is set to hit the region all of this week, which brings the potential of rain rather than snow because of warmer temperatures. Silverton Mountain is slated to open in December, but according to the news release, that date could be pushed up if snow keeps accumulating. The ski area has opened as early as August in previous years, it said. Purgatory Resort, too, got in on the anticipation of ski season starting. On Sunday, Purgatory sent a tweet out with the snow-capped Engineer Mountain in the background, a nearly 13,000-foot peak that is not part of the ski resort. In Flagstaff, Arizona, Snow Bowl began making snow early Sunday morning, making it the first in the country to make snow.
Science, I love it. Weird, maybe, but learning as much as possible for as long as possible is, according to a growing body of research, good for the brain. and likely helps slow the onset of senile dementia and maybe even Alzheimer's and so on. I require proof and data and studies from unbiased sources and work to avoid premature conclusions. A balanced mental diet is as important as the balance of food for the body. And not surprisingly, a malnourished brain or one fed only from one food source is likely to have a bad result of an unhealthy mindset. Herbivores, omnivores, carnivores. What happens when natural or what we call common or normal behaviors of animals in their dietary routines is disrupted? In a study done over the last 3 years by the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife, Oregon State University, Flathead Lake Biological Station in the University of Montana, and Kodiak National Wildlife Refuge, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, several other government organizations, Kodiak bears were faced with unusual choices in their diet due to the unusual weather patterns and did not do what was expected. Normally, fish come on at a certain part of the season and berries at another, but when they come on at the same time, what then? One researcher following the bears noticed that where bears had killed and eaten spawning sockeye salmon, stream beds would be littered with fish heads, jaws, and whole carcasses, and plants on the stream banks were flattened. But at the peak of the stream spawning run in 2014, he was puzzled to find no bears or salmon parts. Salmon were dying naturally, of all things, after spawning and piling up in streams intact. What's up and why? In warm years, another favorite bear food, red elderberries ripened early enough to overlap the salmon season. This forced bears to choose between the foods. Well, forced may be a strong word, and if you want, I'd be happy to say they were allowed a choice. Surprisingly, almost all bears opted for berries over salmon. What's that? Surely he jests. Some might say worse. But surely no self-respecting bear would choose fruit over protein-rich meat. Perhaps they just thought since no one was watching, why not eat dessert first? Maybe the fish enjoyed the break and the routine too. Other findings showed that Kodiaks seem to prefer a diet that runs about 17% protein and don't go directly for fatty foods either, but instead choose a diet that helps to quickly gain that weight needed for a winter's hibernation. That's conveniently where that 17% protein produced the desired gain rate. And you can only eat so much in a day, right? If you're a bear anyway. What can be learned in a day depends on what you feed the brain in a day.
Reported by the Cortez Journal at a public forum Tuesday, 7 candidates running for 2 open seats on the Dolores School Board fielded a variety of questions. The candidates are Sandra Corbett, Rebecca Frazier, Lisa Hulls, Casey McLellan, Kay Phelps, Eugene Reininger III, and Jerry Whited. Questions focused on the reasons for running, budget experience, how to handle community concerns, whether a career tracking system is a good idea, and general priorities if elected. Sandra Corbett said she is running to give students more of a voice and that curriculum should be diverse and not just teach for the tests. She is concerned about excessive homework and worries that computers and conformity are creating robots out of kids, with not enough room to become a unique individual. Rebecca Frazier has been serving as an appointed board member for the past year and said the experience sets her up to serve a full term. Her priorities are financial oversight and school policy. She is concerned about losing students to other school districts and said fostering academics and student success should be the main focus of a school. Lisa Holtz said the school needs to be adaptive to the ever-changing world and that education needs to be as comprehensive and inspiring as possible. While she does not have a lot of experience with budget, she said she is detail-oriented and keeps the broader picture in mind. Casey McLellan said his priority is to focus on academic success, retaining teachers and students, and budgetary oversight. One way to improve academics is to retain quality teachers, he said, and make sure their salaries are competitive. Kay Phelps said she is eager to serve on the local school board in a district where she taught for 13 years. As a professor of education at Fort Lewis College, she also brings knowledge of teacher training and curriculum. Utilizing the latest technology is important, but face-to-face interaction with peers and teachers is equally needed, Phelps said. Eugene Reininger said he brings professional experience to the board and wants to serve as part of civic duty to the community. He said academics and technology are important to prepare a student for the future, but appreciating the natural world is also necessary for a balanced education. And finally, Jerry Whited said one of his priorities would be to make sure that all students at the school are treated equally and given the same opportunities to succeed, including those with special needs.
Today's marijuana moment, as reported in timescall.com. More Colorado counties are seriously considering allowing limited number of marijuana shops as they watch the state workout regulations. Longmont, Colorado would lift its years-old pot shops ban and allow up to 4 businesses to sell marijuana and marijuana products under an ordinance up for an initial city council vote on Tuesday night. The ordinance, drafted by the city staff after a majority of council members informally agreed earlier this year on what regulations and restrictions they'd want to include if marijuana sales are permitted, would allow marijuana sales shops only in commercial and industrially zoned areas of Longmont. No pot shops would be permitted in the city's downtown central business district or in any areas of the city that are in residential zoning districts. Any marijuana store would have to be at least 250 feet away from a residentially zoned area and at least 1,000 feet away from any kindergarten, elementary, middle, or high schools. The shops would be allowed to operate between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. daily. The 4 total shops that wind up being selected through an application and city review process could sell marijuana and marijuana products to both recreational and medicinal marijuana customers, but none could sell solely to people on the state's registry of medical marijuana users. Application and city review requirements are many, including providing a community outreach plan detailing their history of community and neighborhood involvement, policies and procedures for addressing any community concerns and complaints, and measures to mitigate impacts on the store's neighborhood. They'd also be asked to describe how they would contribute to and support the overall vision, values, and goals identified by the city and specified in adopted city plans such as Envision Longmont and the city's sustainability plan, according to the city staff memo. The proposed 49-page ordinance would amend existing city code provisions about marijuana store regulations, including the current pot shop bans. If the ordinance gets initial council approval on Tuesday night, it is tentatively scheduled for a public hearing and a final council vote on October 10th.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of September 18th through the 24th. A late-night report came in of an individual who was overdue from hunting in the Taylor Mesa area. Search and rescue was contacted to prepare for an early morning start to a rescue. Before all members were notified, the hunter was located. He traveled in an incorrect direction but was able to find a road. While walking along the road, a passing motorist stopped and gave a ride back to camp. A 911 caller looking from the Boggy Draw area reported seeing smoke approximately 20 miles from their location. Initial thoughts were that it was in the Cajon area. A deputy responded to confirm the smoke reports and was able to determine the fire was in public lands, and fire personnel were dispatched through Durango Interagency. A motorist reported a vehicle unable to maintain lane while passing through Dove Creek. A resident reported a dog at large at a local business. Animal Control was able to identify the owner and notified the owner of the dog's location, and the owner took their dog home. A resident reported their red border collie missing for about a week from the Egner area. If anyone located a dog that matches that description, please contact the sheriff's office. That's it for today's roundup. Stay tuned tomorrow for continuing updates.
And in today's High Canyon Country happenings, the place to be Saturday, September 30th is Mancos. In addition to the balloon liftoff, the 2017 Mancos Arts and Crafts Fair is happening in the park. Hosted by the Mancos Chamber of Commerce, for just $30 you can have your own booth space. Proceeds go to Pay It Forward to help families in need. Contact Carrie Summers Baikai at 970-759-2540. There will be food, music, and all kinds of arts and crafts from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Moab, the Tamarisk Coalition is hosting a volunteer campout on the Dolores River September 29th, 3 p.m. through October 1st, 6 p.m. Take a volunteer vacation with Audubon Rockies, Wildland Restoration Volunteers, Tamarisk Coalition, and the Dolores River Restoration Partnership. Set for National Public Lands Day, this campout trip works to restore a native ecosystem inside the absolutely stunning Dolores River Canyon Wilderness Study Area. Volunteers will remove invasive tamarisk trees and seed and plant native vegetation in, quote, resource islands throughout the area. This is a rare opportunity to camp and work in this truly scenic and historic area, once the stomping grounds of the infamous rim rockers and notable characters such as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. For more information, go online to WLRV.net. And as we are truly feeling fall-like these days, you can see the bright orange hints of pumpkin patches tucked away in various farmyards. This Sunday, October 1st, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. is Dove Creek's own Pick Your Pumpkin Patch on Highway 491, 65488 at the Margaret Daves home. It's $6 each and no cost for big smiles. Though no one is expecting any Halloween ghosts, you do enter the patch at your own risk. All of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station 677-4119 and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs live at noon Monday through Wednesday and then rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 3 and 6.
And maybe that was a text with some news for tomorrow's show. Check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.